Oh, I used to go to Bullow's Pond with my friends when I was about 6, but that was after I got my skates for Christmas. I told my parents I really would like some white skates for Christmas. And I got skates, but they were hockey skates. And I persuaded them to exchange them for figure skates. So that was the beginning. I did persuade my father to flood the backyard one winter, and he was very anxious to please me, I guess. It didn't last very long, not only because the winter didn't last long enough, but my mother found that all the neighborhood children would come over and say to her, "Mrs. Albright, would you please put my skates on?" I was taken to the hospital, and I thought, I won't have to stay overnight, will I? But I ended up being there about 2.5 months. And the diagnosis was polio, but my parents apparently didn't want me to know, so they had the sign taken off my door. And there was a nurse who came in one time and said, "Oh, one of my other polio patients." And so I said, "Is that what I have?" She said, "Mm-hmm." So the next nurse that came in, I asked her to bring me a dictionary, and that's how I found out. When it was time for me to be discharged, both doctors said to my parents, "You have to understand that other parents are not going to want their children to play with Tenley because they won't want to catch polio." It struck me years later that, of course, that's what happened with HIV. We didn't know how it was spread. We didn't know anything about it. But the exciting thing is, over the years, having the vaccines developed, and now the fact that we've almost eradicated polio in the world. I love the idea of flying. In fact, I broke a number of umbrellas from my friends jumping off the garage roof because I'm trying to jump down a flight of stairs. I just wanted to fly. So when I went out on the ice for the school figures, the referee came over to me and said, "Little girl, don't be nervous." So I said, "Well, I'm not nervous." And he said, "Oh, I know you're nervous. Yes, you're nervous." And this went on so much so that when I got off the ice, somebody said to me, "What were you talking to the referee so long about?" Trying to convince him I wasn't nervous. I always loved the choreography and the creativity and making up new jumps and new things. And I used to spend hours and hours in record stores looking for my music.
So you would choose your music? It wasn't coach or choreographer?
No. Not only choose it, I would sit on the floor in my bedroom with a phonograph and a little straight edge razor and a tape, and I would cut my own records. You know, when you choose something to skate to, you don't have just the whole symphony from beginning to end. You cut little parts out of it. My mother always said, "I bet those composers are turning over in their graves." I don't remember exactly how early I arrived to the Olympics, but it was about maybe a little less than 2 weeks. We all did that because we had to get used to outdoor skating, outdoor ice. It was crazy because I hadn't been injured before, but it was in a practice session, and it was a beautiful day, and I was skating fast backwards, and I noticed that there was a photographer taking pictures of some of the other skaters, so I didn't want to have it look as if I was trying to get in the background. And so I swerved a little bit and hit a deep rut, and it just threw me. And apparently when I came down, the heel of one skate went right into the ankle. And then there was a doctor who was assigned to the rink, and he wanted to cut off my skate to get to the injury. And I said, no, you don't cut off my skate. And there was a woman who found a shoemaker in the village, and he was able to stitch it up for me. That was not a good experience because I missed the opening ceremonies. I had to look out my bedroom window at the ceremony, and it was also such a beautiful village. The whole village was taken over as the Olympic Village. Mm-hmm. And it was just a beautiful setting. The first time you go into the Olympic Village, it's just mesmerizing. I was not prepared for that. The idea that we were all there for the Olympics, for the same thing, totally different events, totally different countries, totally different backgrounds, didn't know each other, but once we went through those gates, it makes me choke up. And we need the Olympics when you think of what's happening in the world, and the divisiveness and the problems we are having in this country about getting together. But when you're at the Olympics, you might say it's political because you're representing your country, which is a wonderful feeling.